The French are glad to die for love. They delight in fighting duels. But I prefer a man who lives and gives expensive jewels. A kiss of the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. A kiss may be grand, but won't pay the rental on your humble flat, or help you at the automat. Men grow cold as girls grow old, and we all lose our charms in the end. But square cut or pear shape, these rocks don't lose their shape. Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Takes nerve, you could to admit. That's really too much.
This is unsafe. We're trying to think. Excuse us. Well, I guess I'm a little impetuous. I would like to be happy, but who's happy?
The voice is a strong part of a person's character. It gives flavor to the personality. So much happens in the voice. I've always believed that the voice expresses even more than the face.
My mother's first husband was named Baker. Well, in all my school records, it was Norma Jeane Baker. My father, I don't know anything about him because he wasn't related to me. I never lived with my mother. As you know, my mother had, mental disturbances during her lifetime. She was taken away. Later, some people said, well, it's better you forget about your mother. I said, but where's my mother? And I said, well, it's better you forget about her. She's dead. Well, when I was put in the orphan's home, they had to drag me in. I said, I'm not an orphan. Because I was going to stay with these people from New Orleans. And then suddenly I was taken to the orphan's home. You see, some places I lived, I was taken there at the end of the school term, and they were planning to keep me. But then, after the summer, they'd had enough. So, or for whatever reason, and then I was taken to another place. So that's why there's so many. So counting the orphan's home makes 11. We'd get up at 6 in the morning, and we did our work before we went to a public school. It's very, well, it's bad to have children from an institution like that go to a public school, because in a public school the kids say, oh, they're from the home. They're from the home. And, and you feel... I always tried to go around as if I were one of the other kids.
I always think of a little girl whenever she speaks. It's true that we always have this image of her as lacking, not love, that's too simple, but of being more or less forgotten. First rejected, then taken back. There's no bitterness, but an emptiness. You find some way to make people notice you just to survive.
Later on, the county Los Angeles County took over my support. And it was awful because you had to go down. First, the woman would come around, she'd say, now, let's see, I think you need some shoes. And she would write down one pair of shoes. And then she said, I think you need 2 dresses. One for Sunday and one for school, or something like that. And they looked like out of flour sacks. Oh, they were terrible. And the shoes awful. And I would be ashamed. I said, I don't want them.
Anyway, she has this certain coyness, like anyone who is sensitive. She always has a little laugh when she says something depressing or something a little downbeat.
You know, I was always dreaming out the window. I used to sit up in the window and cry because I'd look over and I'd see RKO, and I knew my mother had worked there and she'd been a cutter there.
Direction.
Oh, sure. If you don't have a direction, you just keep going round in circles. And look, you can see by this just how straight my direction is. River Gulch, that's where I started. This is where I am now. And look where I'm going. Where? Hollywood and Vine. Look, straight as an arrow. River Gulch, Hollywood and Vine.
One time, a very wonderful director, Kazan, said I had no ambition. That was my problem. But I would like very much to be a fine actress, a true actress. That's what I mean by fine. A real actress.
A real actress. Well, yes, of course, it's what she wanted most. Yet there were so many obstacles. It was such a tough struggle. She wanted above everything to try to achieve that, except that when you have a figure as extraordinary as she had, when you are that pretty, trying to prove that you can be an actress too, takes some doing. It's always a fight.
I want to do my best, the best that I can do in that moment. When the camera starts until it stops. That moment I want to be perfect.
I believe at first she just wanted to be in the spotlight. I mean, she wanted a certain recognition. She wanted everyone to admire her. You know, she did start out as pin-up. Maybe she had an identity problem, or she wanted to be recognized, to belong to someone or something, I don't know. The one thing that strikes me is the way she's always posing so fast and so well. She always turns her face to the light, be it artificial light or natural sunlight, as in all those photographs on the beach she made by the dozen. It's true, she's always turned her face towards the source of light. She vibrates with good health. That's part of her sensuality. She really knows her body, that she's aware of the effect she has. There's a natural grace, an automatic talent for showing herself to her best advantage.